Welcome back to some success as a real estate agent. Let's dive right on in here. The right tone is where we're going to start off. And here we go. Great real estate agents set an optimistic tone and create an expectation that all parties will work together to achieve a negotiated win-win outcome. This means that the sellers and the buyers both need to feel as if they won in the final transaction. The agents for both parties need to feel that they won as well, not just in terms of commissions earned, but also in terms of earning the satisfaction of their clients. When a marketplace becomes unbalanced, it's harder for all parties to feel satisfied. Most of North America has experienced an unbalanced real estate environment during the past few years. The seller's marketplace has left homeowners feeling that they're at an advantage in sales transactions. Sellers have had the upper hand recently, but it's only a matter of time before the market moves towards the buyer. We have exited one of the strongest sellers markets that I've seen in almost 35 years in real estate. With multiple offers, waived home inspections, acceleration clauses, and highest and best bidding, and as a result, sellers become greedy and unrealistic, and buyers felt like they just had to shut up and pay up. One of your jobs throughout the transaction is to serve as a claiming influence when emotions run high, as they are sure to do. Be the one to remain focused on the outcome and settle down the buyer, seller, and other real estate agents. Take the approach followed by the best emergency room doctors. They serve as a calming influence by displaying confidence and skill while reassuring their patients and other medical staff that everything is under good control. If the emergency room doctor flies into a frenzy, the entire clinical setting is likely to spin out of control on the tide of the unchecked emotion. The same is true in the final throes of a real estate transaction. Commit to yourself that you'll serve as the calming influence throughout the deal. Keys to representing a seller. Sellers have plenty of reasons to be emotional during the final negotiation. They're undergoing change, making huge decisions, and dealing with a transaction that probably involves the largest investment they own. Your role in this environment and the key to your success is twofold. Be prepared and protect the seller at every step along the way. Be prepared. By carefully preparing before you present a buyer's offer to your clients, you can shorten the meeting, craft a better counter offer, keep sellers' emotions in check, and focus your clients on the next important steps. Follow this advice. First and foremost, remain calm no matter how high or low the initial offer. Go through the buyer's offer carefully and note any key issues that need to be addressed. Flag any contract points that merit your seller's attention so you can easily reference them during the meeting. If you're emailing the document, also summarize the key points at the top of the email to which you attach the offer. This way, your seller won't have to dig through every line of the contract. That's your job. If your meeting will take place by online meeting or phone rather than in person, email the offer to the seller within minutes of your conversation. If your phone conference is set for 2 p.m., have the documents set sometime between 1:30 and 1:45 p.m. You don't want the sellers to spend hours brooding if the price is low, and you certainly don't want them to call you with questions, concerns, and panic attacks half a dozen times prior to the scheduled conference. That can blow a hole a mile wide in your time management strategy for the day. Protect the sellers at all times. The worst thing that can happen to sellers is to have the transaction fall apart a few days before closing. By then, they're emotionally invested in another property. They've already made plans to move. They're excited about the future, and then boom, everything falls apart, and everyone together, including you, loses market time, marketing momentum, and considerable investment of time and money. The value of meeting face to face. I really believe that there is value in meeting with the client you represent, either face to face or via online platform. The reason is you are able to march body language and words. Sometimes people use more posturing in their words than they do with their body language. When you can see the person, you can tell they're more open and flexible than words imply. You need to be able to pick up on the difference between the audio and video feed they are sending. Additionally, you might be representing two sellers. One could be dominating the phone call. If you have a visual reference, you can see the other lingering in the background and determine if their body languages suggest have a different viewpoint. The biggest enemy of the seller is days on the market. If the property falls out of pending days before closing, when you place it back on the market to sell again, all those days was not really for sale because it was pending still count. If the property sold right away, for example, after 3 days on the market, and it fell apart 30 days later, then it comes back on the market, it will show 33 days on the market. Ouch. In the aftermath of this kind of disastrous situation, I've had the chance to look at the contracts that were written, and I've seen examples that made me cringe. In most cases, the agent didn't protect the client, and all parties paid dearly for the mistake. Even the most thorough approach results in a broken deal once in a while, but by taking these precautions, you can keep disasters to a bare minimum. Require prospective buyers to deposit enough earnest money to secure your client's position. Set the earnest money high enough in your counteroffer to make it difficult for buyers to purchase another home if they walk away from the deal after all contingent conditions are satisfied. You may be thinking that this advance conflicts with your objective to achieve a win-win outcome. In fact, it simply requires buyers to hold up their end of the deal or sacrifice their deposit. Remember, you're representing the sellers and protecting your client's interests in your fiduciary duty. Few buyers will walk away from a deal if an amount like $5,000 to $10,000 is at stake. Yet many agents allow initial deposits of as little as $1,000 or $2,000. The ritual is that buyers won't have the cash available to make a higher deposit, but if buyers need $15,000 to close in 30 days, depositing $5,000 to $10,000 up front won't kill them. If necessary, consider accepting part of the deposit in the form of a short-term note. Only do this if the buyers have no other way to increase the earnest. Money, if available, cash is an issue. At least get a few $1,000s deposited immediately and make arrangements to receive the balance within a few weeks. Securing the latter portion with a note. Never secure the initial earnest money with a note for more than 24 hours. If you accept a note for the additional earnest money, be sure it's redeemed within a stipulated short period of time. Don't accept notes redeemable at closing. If the closing never happens, your seller can't redeem the note. It becomes a worthless piece of paper because the transaction never closes and technically the note never comes due. Even legal action won't fix this agent's mistake. Another area of caution is financing. Require the buyers to provide proof of loan approval with no conditions. You won't prove positive that the buyers can and will perform within 2 weeks of acceptance of the offer. Lending institutions are notorious for writing loan approval letters with conditions or weasel clauses that protect both the institution and the buyers. Make it clear on the counteroffer that no contingencies or conditions will be acceptable after 2 weeks. The prevailing rule in seller protection is to tighten the language every step of the way. Remember, at all times, that your job is to protect and secure the interests of your clients, the sellers. The broader the language of the contract, the greater the number of interpretable clauses, commonly known as weasel clauses, that make it into the transaction, each one enduring the level of security you provide your clients. Keys to representing a buyer. The buyer's agent is responsible for crafting, representing, writing a proper contract for, and prompting acceptance of a good offer. Follow these steps. Your first step is to guide your clients toward a competitive offer. Perform at least a quick competitive market analysis, or CMA, to determine the value of the property. Among the factors you want to weigh are the home's current value based on the value of the comparable properties, regional housing inventory levels, and the competitive nature of the current marketplace. Your findings help your clients arrive at a reasonable price decision and help you console them as they make a competitive offer. We will get back to this later. Thank you so much for spending time learning about real estate with me. See you guys later. Bye.